Wow.
Welcome, everyone. This is the February 24th, 2021 meeting of the Climate Smart Kingston Commission. My name is Julie Noble, and I am the chair of the Climate Smart Kingston Commission. And with us, we have voting members Melissa Iacchetta, Kevin McAvoy, Maya Nimisto, Serena Pepper, Roberto Rivera, Dan Smith, Karen Sullivan, and Cal Truman. We also have non-voting members, myself, representing the Parks and Recreation Department, Michael Darcy, representing New York State Assemblyman Cahill's office, and Ariel Gartenstein, representing the Engineering Office. I would like to welcome Ariel Ellie, and Mr. Darcy, Mike Darcy, back. He has previously sat on the commission, and we welcome him back. And Ellie, we welcome you to this new position as well. So thank you for being here. We also have one guest. Would you like to have any public comment for the record? If so, you can unmute yourself. Okay, so we will move forward. I guess I should have called the meeting to order, but I suppose when I started the record, the meeting was called to order about 5:04 p.m. And we don't have any public comment. Are there any modifications to the agenda? Okay, if not, then we will move on to review and approval of the January 2021 minutes. Does anyone have any comments, questions, concerns, or changes to the January 27th, 2021 minutes? If not, we need a motion to accept.
So moved.
Karen, can I get a second?
Second.
Cal? Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Abstaining? Okay, great. And just as a reminder, Ellie and Mike, you are more than welcome to contribute the entire time, but you are a non-voting member. You are ex officio. All right, very good. Thank you. So the minutes are accepted without amendments. Thank you, Kevin, for, as always, putting those together so thoughtfully. All right, we are going to move on to old business. I will give an update on the Climate Action Plan 2030. So we have received all of the comments from the survey that we put out after the public meeting, which was a month or so ago. We had 225 responses to the survey, which is awesome, really, really great. And so we are processing through those comments now, and that was really helping us to prioritize people's feelings on where the city should go with our updated climate action plan. We're taking those comments in addition to the chat and all of the information that we gathered from the public meeting and emails that people have reached out to me directly since then. And we are gathering that all together. The next action is that Citizens for Local Power is going to be hosting focus groups based on the survey. They're going to be designing individual focus groups that will create a forum to gather more specific information to drill down into specific priorities and actions. I anticipate that's going to be happening over the next couple of months. Meanwhile, Cadmus Group, which is our contractor for that project, our consultant, is digesting all of the information from the surveys and using that to really understand how to start to develop some priority actions. I will just say as an update, our main contact at Cadmus, who is Ben Butterworth, is going to be moving on to a different position. So our new contact is Farah Anderson, who we worked with for many years on other projects, but she's going to be our new contact. So that's where that project is. I was thrilled with the turnout from the survey, which is really, really great. And we gathered a lot of really meaningful information. So thank you all of you that were able to participate in that survey. And I will share with you all the information when I have the dates and there's more details about the focus groups. And you can always check out engagekingston.com/climate-action-plan for full updates on the climate action plan. Just a reminder on the timeline, Our current timeline, if we stay on track, is to have a climate action plan draft out to the community by the fall. So by the end of summer or fall for review. Anyone want to add to that or questions about the climate action plan process at this point? Okay, so moving on to refrigerants, Dan Smith. Any updates?
Yes. Sorry, my internet's a little choppy today, so I'm not doing video feed. So attended the last of the Pollution Prevention Institute's workshop. That was 2 weeks ago. So I had a good chat with Kim there, who was presenting the whole workshop. So we have a good resource there for when we hit next steps. We're still just kind of in that holding pattern of, we have all the data collected on the city assets, just need to transpose it into like a spreadsheet or a log form, and that's pretty much it. We'll go from there.
Okay. Did it seem like they were going to do another round of this, or like a follow-up or anything else, or are you good to go from that?
There wasn't anything mentioned. We gave a bunch of feedback on a survey at the end. So I imagine they'll probably try to do something in the future to maybe get a little bit more attendees. It generally was just us and 2 other townships. What was it? Was it Marbletown?
Phillipstown?
What was it?
Phillipstown?
I'd have to look up some emails, but there were only a couple towns, including us, in attendance. So wasn't widely attended, but they may try again. Okay.
For those of you who aren't familiar with this initiative, refrigerants as a whole have been identified, not necessarily in the city, but as a whole in climate change as a whole, to be a major concern and source of emissions. So we are doing what we can. Dan and Maya have been working with the city to understand what our municipal operations impact is for refrigerants. And so they went through a training with the Pollution Prevention Institute to really understand how to inventory what our current impact is for refrigerants, and then create a strategy for action on what we could do moving forward. And that would be both addressing our municipal operations of our refrigerants in our municipal buildings and vehicles, I guess, but also in what we do to process refrigerants from the community. So if someone is getting rid of a refrigerator, air conditioner, or whatever, how we process that and how we do so responsibly. So I'm glad to hear that you guys made it through the training, and it'll be interesting to see where our inventory pulls out and our actions moving forward. Is there anything you need from this committee at this point?
I don't think so. We just have our work cut out for us. Like you said, the kind of the 3 prongs is the city assets, managing it. Of course, maybe yourself or now Ariel can help us with, because it's generally going to be an internal thing, understanding which city employees would be responsible. I'm guessing like the HVAC team or DPW. Then the community aspect, figuring out the flow of appliances and refrigerations through the community and how can we approach that. So we have that strategy. And then the third prong is updating the City of Kingston regulations to update that language from the, it's Montreal Protocol centric. So from like the kind of the 80s or 90s. So it's all about ozone depletion. It's kind of focused on that. So we need to update it for the 21st century.
Great. And you made the connection here, and this transitions me to the next agenda item, but I do want to, I introduced Ellie as the engineering representative, but I also want to introduce Ellie as her official title, which is the environmental specialist for the city of Kingston. For those of you who have been on the commission for a while, you remember Sean Coster. Sean was the environmental specialist before this, and he and Ellie both split their time between the Parks Department, 75% and 25% in engineering, which is why we had Ellie representing engineering on this commission. But she is doing all the work of the environmental specialist. So she is helping me and doing a substantial amount of work already in the short time she's been here to coordinate our fleet, to coordinate our energy work, supporting with environmental education, working on advancing many different projects. She's actually going to be speaking to the clean energy communities agenda item later on, but certainly Dan and Maya, as moving forward with the refrigerants, if you need any way that you would have communicated or worked with Sean before, you will work with Ellie now. And Ellie's email is just like the rest of ours in the city. It's agardenstein@kingston-ny.gov. Ariel, full name Ellie, that's what we call her.
So jealous.
Do you want a nickname? Is that what it is?
No, her job is just amazing.
It is amazing. It's really fun. Ellie, I don't know if you wanted to say anything. I'm putting you on the spot. You don't have to, but.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ariel. I go by Ellie. You can call me either. If you need to get in touch with me in the city, my email is agartenstein. It's not egartenstein. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Looking forward to working with you guys.
Awesome. And thanks for being here. Okay, so is that all you have on refrigerants, Dan? Anything else?
That's about it.
Okay,
We
great.
get together. We'll try to connect March, make a big push for March.
Okay.
That's good, Maya.
Yeah, I've been not very helpful lately on refrigerants, so Dan's been carrying the torch, but I am able to jump back on and help out again.
I got a great feeling about March.
Love that.
Spring's coming, new energy.
Sure is. Okay, awesome. Thanks for that great update. So it's a city sustainability project. So I'll give you a few updates. I just updated you about Ellie's new work. So you may be seeing emails from her or communications from her. So keep an eye out for that. Two projects that I keep reporting on are continuing to go, are still continuing. Our LED project is continuing on. I will say they did remobilize today to work on our punch list. So I anticipate that that is going to wrap up soon. I know I've been saying that for months and months and months, but I really this time anticipate that it's going to wrap up soon, and they did remobilize today. So that's great. I do want to add, as part of that project, and I don't know if I've mentioned this on this call or not, but we are doing that through NYSERDA and working with NYSERDA to do the retrofit of all of our Cobra heads and all of our decorative lighting. And all of that is about 99.9% complete, with just a few punch list items left. However, subsequent to that, and on the same contract, which is a multi-million-dollar contract for the lighting, because of that contract, we were eligible for additional funding for smart city technology. And in doing so, we are going to be using that contract with additional monies that were allocated by NYSERDA to install license plate readers around town. This is something that the police department has been desiring for a while, and even more so of late. This is to be able to basically post license plate readers on the areas, on the main roads that enter and exit the city of Kingston, so that if there's a need for them to search for a vehicle that is in question related to a crime, they're able to capture that data. And so that smart technology is something we qualified for because of the LED lighting, and I'm managing that project as well. So We're moving swiftly through that, and I would anticipate that those are going to be installed this spring. The organics diversion
Can I
plan,
ask a question about that, Julie?
yes.
And hi, everybody.
I got it.
Sorry, sorry I was late.
Sorry.
The smart city technology, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but I don't get the connection with NYSERDA. Like, what does it have to do with like energy conservation, or I'm having a hard time with that.
Our connection is the connection to the street light and the smart poles. So one of the options we had when we were making the decision about doing our street lights is whether or not we wanted to make them have smart nodes on them. And the smart node on each light, which we did not opt for, I just wanted to say, is a node that goes on each Cobra headlight or each fixture, where you can dim the light, change the color, turn them all off if you want to, turn them all on if you want to, differently. Install Wi-Fi in the smart node. There's a number of different functions that would happen using the infrastructure of the streetlights and adding a small piece of equipment to each one.
Okay.
We didn't opt for that, but because it was significantly more expensive. But also, that technology is a smart technology that NYSERDA is supporting.
Mm-hmm.
And subsequent to that, when they put out this smart city technology grant, effectively, the grant could be for a number of different things, including like gunshot detection systems, speed radars, like a number of different things, including more smart nodes for the lights, but basically all different systems that are connected into your lighting system, where basically there's like something else that affixes to your street lights.
Mm-hmm.
And of all the different options, the one that the city as a whole was most attracted to was the license plate readers. I will say off the bat, to me as a sustainability coordinator, there is not a direct tie to sustainability. I happen to be the one managing the lighting project, which is through NYSERDA. So it got strapped on, which is why I'm managing it. But inherently, this is not a sustainability project. It just got strapped onto the NYSERDA project. If I were NYSERDA, I would probably have some other way of saying that there is a sustainability tie, but I don't have that in my mouth right now to be able to say that. So unless someone else can have some other
Okay,
tie.
it doesn't really matter. I was just kind of curious. Thank you.
I think it's part of the Smart City Complete Streets program, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not 100% sure. I just wanted to say about it because I was at the public safety meeting where Chief Tinty asked for money to install those license plate readers.
Mm-hmm.
But this was something that was going to happen one way or another. So I'm actually kind of not delighted, but somehow satisfied to hear that it's NYSERDA's money that's paying for it, because otherwise it was going to be City of Kingston money that paid for it.
Cool. I'm impressed you were at that meeting too, Serena. You really get around.
Well, that's part of my responsibilities for Climate Smart Kingston is to report what we do here in
Okay.
public safety. That was just a bonus. I mean,
Well, thank you for representing us.
All right, any other questions on that LED project? Organics project is moving along, still drafting it. There has been a lot of a temporary draw of Carla's time, because Carla is one of the people that is managing the NYSERDA Clean Energy Communities Leadership Round that Ellie will speak about in a moment. So she's been strapped for time in order to move forward our organics plan, but I have made it explicitly clear that we need to get this thing out. So we're still moving, but it's not complete yet. And Melissa will talk a little bit about where we are with our recycling pizza box campaign, but that's one of the things we've got going on with recycling. Also, I have some interns that we're working with through SUNY New Paltz that are gathering all the data of all of our tote information, so we can have a better inventory of, not a better inventory, an inventory of who has what totes around town. Because right now it comes up that somebody will be up on Lucas Avenue and say, you know, this tote showed up on my yard, and then it'll be somebody down on Spruce Street, and it's just some sort of ridiculousness going on with people's recycling totes in this town. So the interns are doing that, and I think that that is fantastic. So that's work that's going on there. And most of my time at this time is being actually spent on community development block grant funding, moving that through for the city managing parks projects. So I'm currently managing 8 major parks projects. As I've mentioned in the past, a lot of them are on hold currently because of the winter weather, but as soon as it breaks, it's going to be construction orama in 8 of our parks. So we are very excited about that progress that's moving forward. And if you haven't had a chance, one of them you can have community input on currently, which is if you want to vote on the style of playground that we put in at Kingston Point. There are 3 options that we've gone through with working with our vendor, which is Play World, and they are at engagedkingston.com. And you can look and you can vote on which playground you like the most for Kingston Point. So that is probably an update on most of the work that is going on with sustainability. I was on a webinar yesterday also about our open space plan. I had 166 people on it interested from around the state about how communities develop a natural resources inventory and open space plan. So I was honored to be part of that panel. And I know that at least one of you guys made it there, so that's great. And we've been doing good work on the open space plan and moving things. So that's been very exciting, and I was proud to be part of that. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Melissa, Repair Cafe.
Okay, so there was a meeting on the 6th for all the Repair Cafe facilitators, and there was people from like New Jersey, all over the Hudson Valley. There was about 25 plus people there, so it was really great. John's girlfriend, Holly, was there. It was pretty emotional. I'm still kind of emotional about it. Okay, I'm gonna try not to cry today. But yeah, we just all shared stories. Nope, okay, I'm gonna cry. Yeah, we shared a lot of stories about our experiences with John and how we met him and working with him. They're still trying to talk about creating a coordinator to fill his role. They're still in talks about what that would look like. No real news on that. They have a new intern at Sustainable Hudson Valley that is going to be inputting a lot of the data from the different cafes. One of the key things I think to report is with Melissa Everett kind of taking more of a role in the Repair Cafe. She made it clear that she doesn't really want Repair Cafe to have any sort of in-person events anytime soon. Some of the people in New Jersey were talking about this spring, and they were planning one actively. And she kind of said, if you kind of want to be part of the collective Repair Cafe under Sustainable Hudson Valley, she doesn't want, for insurance reasons, for any outdoor events to go on. She doesn't want any like super spreader events to happen as a result of Repair Cafe. So right now we're just not doing any in-person stuff anytime soon. But yeah, that's all I know for now.
Great, thank you for that update. I'm glad to hear that things are continuing to move forward.
Can I ask a question too?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's so great to hear, Melissa. But I'm sure very emotional to be a part of all of that. We miss John so much. I was just wondering whether there was talk about the like repair center or something. Isn't
There
that?
isn't. That seems to be a separate effort with Mana Joe. And there's like a committee that meets on Thursdays. It's during work for me, so I can't attend. I mean, there's a group, I think, of 4 or 5 people that are on that, working on that. Like Laura Pettit. I think Melissa Everett's on that too. But yeah, the repair coordinator position would be a separate thing that Sustainable Hudson Valley is looking to.
Okay, which we should all make a donation to. I don't know if I've shared the donation link, but I'll try to find it and put it in the chat. I think I posted it on Climate Smart. I meant to. And the repair center, I mean, that could be so cool, right? Like if that was in Kingston, is there anything that we can do to try to encourage that to come to Kingston?
I'm not
To
sure.
me or Melissa?
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at Melissa. You can't see who I'm looking at. But I was looking at Melissa, but probably Julie, you would be as equipped, if not more, to answer that.
I think we should take over Tech City.
Yes. I mean, although isn't Tech City kind of out of the way, or something that's more like in the hustle bustle of things?
Tech City is also not in the city. It's in the town of Ulster.
Well, there you go.
I thought we were going to annex the town of Ulster. That was the last board meeting.
Did I say that one time? I feel like I have said that. Maybe I was not supposed to say that out loud.
It just was when they took over that building at DSS. It was a joke.
That's right.
There's a lot of empty storefronts in Kingston right now just because of pandemic stuff. So if you need a spot, now is a good time to look.
Well, I mean, is there like a proposal of like a design?
I can ask to be put on the email list of like, you know, meeting notes or something like that from those meetings. Lisa Min had passed on the invite for that, but it was during like middle of the day on Thursdays, and with a day job, I can't make it.
Mhm.
But I can try to report on it.
Okay, great.
I think Andrew.
Yeah, hi. I'm sorry. I'm new to this meeting, but it's just that I've been working with a couple of the other people on the Reuse Innovation Center, and maybe I could just give you a little bit of an update.
Oh, great.
Great.
So this is a county project to have legislation to enable this this facility to actually start working. And there's the three people that I'm aware of who are working on it are manager Josephine Pagani and Shabazz Jackson. And so I just recently helped them write a narrative that that they're going to discuss tomorrow morning at their regular meeting. And when that's made public, I'm happy to share that with the city, because I think that it's the idea is that it would be regional, but it would be in a central location that had that Carter's had access to. So it would be, you know, there was some talk about Tech City, but I think a landfill or transfer station is a more likely location, only because so much of the material is going to come there and be sorted and then repaired, reused, or disposed of appropriately. And that's where I think that's the thinking now, but it's gone pretty far. I mean, there's a pretty decent diagram and narrative about what the center would be like, and also just a lot of respect paid to John and and the ideas that created it. And I think that's how I got involved, you know, as a friend of his and a colleague, and so they asked me to step in, and I did. So the answer is it is happening. They're preparing this for a committee of the county legislature, and then they're hoping to turn this into legislation with hopefully with an allocation or whatever it's called when the legislature allocates money for it. And they're looking for partnerships with Carters, partnerships with recyclers, partnerships with green jobs potential and training facilities. So it's pretty exciting. And if you like, as I find that this is public information, I'll be happy to share it with this committee as well.
Right. What is the role of Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency in this?
Well, I think that's one of the big issues is, what will their role be? How will they look at tipping fees in terms of, what the change will require? And, and do they gain or lose money? Do they gain or, what about existing contracts? I mean, I think it's a pretty complicated process, but the proposal is very straightforward. It says we're going to do these things at this site, and the details are going to have to be worked out, especially with the Resource Recovery Agency.
Great, thanks for that update. And you said, just for clarification, that there have been no allocations yet, but the proposal would lead towards the request for an allocation?
Yeah, what is it called when the legislature gives money? I know there's an actual term for that when the legislative body does something with money. I forget. I'm sorry. I just can't find the word. But yeah, to fund it, there would be a funding portion of this in the legislation.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Great. Yeah,
And
thanks.
thanks for letting me listen in.
You're welcome to join in the conversation at any time.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Anything else on Repair Cafe? Kevin?
Question. Yeah, Andrew, I got a question for you. You mentioned Josephine, but I'm keeping the minutes and I missed her last name.
Okay, I think it's Papagani. That's the best I
Okay.
can do with it.
Okay, well,
Papagani.
Okay, sounds good. And the transfer station you're talking about is the Okra transfer station or the Kingston?
I don't know. I mean,
Just
I
check.
know there is no particular preference right now. I think it's a landfill or transfer
Yeah,
station.
okay, we'll
Makes the
leave
most
it,
sense.
and that's the way to go here. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I'll add for the Kingston aspect. There was that meeting that me and John had about the makerspace that they're looking at in the Metro building, that it's going to have like 3D printers and a tool library and stuff like that. So there is something kind of planned for Kingston in the works.
Oh, that's great.
Cool.
Okay, great. Anything else on Repair Cafe from anyone? Okay, Melissa and Maya, anything you want to give us an update on outreach and education?
Yeah, so for the sticker campaign, we've been having I've been having a lot of issues actually getting in contact with the pizza owners. For those of you who are new to the meeting, we have a recycling campaign for pizza boxes where we're going to put a sticker on each pizza box with participating pizza places, letting customers know that the pizza boxes are not recyclable. We came up with like a photo pledge campaign, and we have all the stickers and we're ready, but actually contacting owners has been a challenge. I'm not sure if it's like the storms or, the Super Bowl or what's going on, but I've left a lot of messages, haven't gotten one person, gotten back to me. I called and they said, call back, at 11, before 11, the owner will be there. I call back, the owner's not in. So we are now trying to do a letter, formal letter being sent to the pizza places. So that way, maybe it reaches them better than a phone call, but that's where we are.
And I appreciate the work you're doing on it. I did want to mention if we do hit a roadblock, the mayor said that he would personally reach out to the pizza places to make sure that this happens. So, but it would be, what else do you need from me?
I don't know. I think the letter with official letterhead and, something more formal is a second route that we could try.
Okay. So yeah, we're looking at each of the pizza places in Kingston, of which there's 15. We have 30,000 stickers. They're super fun. So we're hoping that this is, in theory, a very low cost for our end, or low cost initiative that will really address one of our largest contaminants in our recycling right now. So if there's anyone that is able to support Melissa with this process, it would be really great. So she's not, so she has some hand in that. And did you say that you wanted me to print up those or no? Did we talk about that?
I emailed you back about so not all the places have email addresses listed online.
Right.
So sending them physical would be good, but I didn't know if like their address is their mailing address, if that made sense. Or if I could just like go deliver the letter and then be like, do you think that would actually get to the boss or the owner if I give it to an employee? You know, I'm not really sure. Because one person took my information down and was like, I'll see if this gets to the boss. If he answers you, he answers you. And it's like, are you gonna get the message to them for real? So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, dropping off a letter in an envelope with the owner's name on it, I think is probably the best that we can do, and then following up with a call.
Yeah.
I see a note from Betta saying she can connect with Lola and Pie for the People. I mean, if there's anyone that has a direct connection with a pizza place, that's probably that's even better, because then there's somebody that has a connection. It's not a cold call.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know Karen and Serena had offered to help me deliver the stuff, but I think also just like calling during the day when I'm working is something that, you know, they say they're the best hours to call are like between a lunch and dinner rush. And, you know, I'm just not free during that time. So if anybody has that availability where they're not as busy and, you know, they'll take the time.
I'm off Mondays and Fridays, so we should talk about that.
Okay, cool.
Perfect. Anyone else best friends with a pizza place owner? Or want to become best friends with a pizza place owner? Betta, are you speaking? Because you're muted.
Oh, I just remembered another place that has pizza that's really good. I think they have boxes. I'll have to check if they have boxes, but Kingston Standard. I don't know if people have been there.
I was just gonna say that.
What a great place.
I don't think they're on our list.
No,
So-
that's very cool.
Well,
So-
weren't they oysters and lobster rolls, and now they're pizza
And
and
they have pizza.
something else?
So you're very lucky to have me because Tate is my neighbor.
As Tate the owner.
He is indeed. So if I could get some stickers, I can make that happen.
So when I say things like, who has a best friend that's a pizza place owner, then you raise your hand and say, I have.
I have a
Pizza place.
neighbor. Let's keep it, you know, there's lines.
Not quite best friends. yet.
There's lines. Although he does make great beer. Oh, it's so good.
Well, and you know what else they have there? In case anyone's wondering what I'm drinking, I'm being good. This is actually non-alcohol, the best non-alcoholic beer you'll ever have. If you like, I mean, actually they've all different kinds, but for an IPA, non-alcoholic beer, I mean, it's like really good. So
I want to be clear, since this is a city meeting, we support all businesses in the city of Kingston. So all pizza places, we do support all of them.
of course, this is a new place. So
Yes.
people relatively new, people may not know about it. It's kind of hidden. It's a
Okay.
very weird location.
So Betta and Mike and Serena are going to connect with Melissa, and they're going to figure out how to get this rocking. Yes? Anyone else who has a best friend or neighbor that is a pizza place person, please connect with Melissa. If you need a definition of what best friend or neighbor is, then please talk to Mike Darcy.
Oh my God.
That's how it's going to roll. Okay. Anything else? Anything else on? Yeah, Maya, go ahead.
I have two education updates. One is that with the climate change, like education working group at the Maritime Museum, I'm not sure how far along they are with like the development of a couple of their like action or outreach displays, but Cal might know or Julie might know, but they were at least interested in having some of like ongoing content from Climate Smart Commission going on in their exhibits, whether it's like a display or something that's updated digitally on a regular basis. But I wanted to make sure that got talked about.
Yeah, I can speak to that if it'd be helpful. So for context, the Hudson River Maritime Museum, which is just down in the Rondout, right on the river, is in the process of building with grant money an exhibit about climate change and its impact on the Hudson River, as well as incorporating climate change in all of the existing exhibits, or most of the existing exhibits in the museum, as well as preparing an outdoor component with like signage along the walkway, so that even if folks can't go into the museum, they can see the educational stuff outside. And there's eventually going to be an audio tour that you can listen to on your phone. So it's a bunch of materials. One of the elements of the specific exhibit in the museum is you go through this whole little loop. It's a small space with a lot of information in it. And on the way out, there's a place for some like information on local like positive action. So groups that are doing work around climate mitigation or, that kind of thing. And ideally, this would be a dynamic display as opposed to we finish it in June and it sits there and never changes, because this is very actively changing work. So we were talking about how best to incorporate that. Maya very kindly passed my information along, so I'm actually doing the facilitation of the exhibit with the museum. And we're trying to figure out how to do that in a way that doesn't make a bunch of new work for the very furloughed museum staff, because I'm only working for them for like a 6-month contract or so. And ideally doesn't make a whole bunch of new work for someone else. But if this group is already coming together once a week to like talk about what climate actions are happening in the city of Kingston, then it might be that one of the things that gets put together once a month or every 3 months or something could be an update to like, here's some of the actions the city is taking, here's some of the community stuff that's going on, just to like either be posted or to be digital. Like maybe there could be a screen in the exhibit and there would be like a blog post almost that just like once a month it updates or something, or every couple of months it updates. So we're trying to figure out the best way to do that. And one of the questions is, would Climate Smart Kingston like to be involved? And if so, how?
I think that's amazing. Climate Smart Community Corner comes to mind. I think that would be great for our like education outreach subcommittee. Even just like with refrigerants, as well as we learn more things, and just to get involved and reach out to the community. It's exciting. I'd work on it.
I love it.
I agree that we should have a presence.
Great.
I love that idea too. So Cal,
Wonderful. Does the idea of having like after we get does the idea of doing an update once a month or every couple of months, like what feels like a feasible undertaking for the group? And what format do folks think would be the easiest? Like, would it be easiest if it could be digital and then folks could like see it on a screen in the exhibit, but also they could pull it up from home? Like it could be on the city website maybe as like part of the Climate Smart page, I don't know. Or part of the museum website, I don't know, one or the other. Would that be easier to do because a blog is pretty much, you don't have to do a lot of like coding, it's just you post. Would it be easier to have like a piece of paper that like someone sends over as a PDF and then they just print it up and like thumbtack it in? Like not literally necessarily, but you know what I mean? Like, do we want like, how do we want to do this? What feels feasible to people with the amount of time we already know we have? Because I know everyone's really busy, so I'm trying not to make a bunch of new work, but we're already kind of doing this work. So how do we share that information with folks who aren't in the room, so to speak?
I'll just put out there that I think that whatever we do, I think we should be sharing with broader than the Maritime Museum. I mean, there isn't really a well organized, like go to this location to find out what is really currently happening with Climate Smart, unless you're like watching this video, which I'm not sure anyone does, except those of you that are watching right now. So thanks for watching. So like if there was something that we could develop where it's like, and I don't know, I'm not on Facebook, so I don't know what our Facebook presence is, but it's something like that where if we're posting it once or creating it once, it's available at the Maritime Museum, but also the rest of the world knows like this is what's going on with Climate Smart. And I think doing that on a regular basis is something that that would behoove this committee and Climate Smart as a whole. And whatever's the easiest. I don't know about the tacking up the paper thing, but
Right,
I don't know if it's easy.
I saw a couple of people, yeah, okay.
Okay. I don't know if it's easy, but what comes to my mind is, those digital photographs that flip automatically that you give to your grandmother who puts it in her bureau drawer. But you could have different scenes of activities charging stations with maybe some explanatory stuff. If anyone is able to like easily do that, I like the visual. I like something that's visual as opposed to just print.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
That's actually a really good idea, Karen, because that from like our perspective, like that would take just a cell phone photo that could be uploaded to a slide deck that would rotate through. And then
So the
show
first-
the things around town that are happening. That's a great idea.
The first thing I did was go and look at analytics for Climate Smart Kingston, and I realized I was no longer an administrator. Makes me very sad.
Well, that's what happens when you leave.
I know. But anyway, you do have 566 followers, and your posts do garner a lot of attention.
I can screenshot that and send it to you because I can look at all of that, but I can't do anything else, Mike. So together we'll get there.
Dude, I got your back, as always.
Well, and you know who really helped us keep our Facebook presence going?
Yeah, it was John.
It was Mike's idea that we have a Facebook in the first place. I owe
Okay,
that
well,
all
then
to
Mike
you,
gets some credit too.
And now we can take it back over.
Attaboy, attaboy.
I can tell you, was there anything that John did not do?
Mike, can we make you an admin again?
No.
Why? Why are you saying no?
What do you
See,
mean?
nobody should have taken him off in the first place.
I took myself off.
Oh,
Yeah.
you took yourself
You're not
off.
on the committee, you're out.
What?
Right, exactly.
So
Okay,
as far
come-
as other ideas,
Let's
all right, I'm gonna
focus.
do the thing. Do folks
Focus,
have other
focus.
ideas? I saw a couple other hands.
One person at a time, please. Raise your hand if you want to talk. Who's up? Betta.
I was just really gonna say that I'm very interested in this whole endeavor and I think it sounds great, but I need a little more time to kind of process it and think about it. And I also just wanna mention that my partner Andrew does events, for his work. He has a scenic shop. So maybe he could help us do something clever, in conjunction with the exhibit. But I need more time to come up with like a great idea. I thought people have shared some great ideas, but when do we have to like figure this out by?
I think raising it this month is probably enough. We're hoping, I really would like to be able to tell the rest of the group after the meeting next month. Will that work for folks? We have till next month to sort of mull it over and then get back, because we have to, ideally the exhibit's gonna be like done in April at some point. And so if this is gonna involve like a screen, I need to know what kind of screen to order and then install and like what kind of wiring to run for it. So it can't take super long, but I think I can give us till next meeting.
Also,
Will that work for folks?
Yeah.
Mull this over.
I was just gonna add, when I was sustainability coordinator at SUNY New Paltz, we did this like bulletin board in all the residence halls, and it was called the Recycling Corner. And just like having, I think, a physical board of sorts, I don't know how much maintenance that would require, if it's too much. But even when we get our brochures printed for the Where Do I Like Recycle, having a bunch of those in there, having information on, linking to New York State Clean Power or to different organizations, I think is important to have some sort of physical versus digital. But I don't know, that's my input.
Yeah, I think the idea was to try to make it like essentially a digital bulletin board, but I agree that having like a tactile element is sort of appealing versus another screen, because there's like 4 other screens in this exhibit. It's very screen heavy. So, but they're also talking about like, do we want it just to be something people can take a picture of and like their phone will pull up more information, so it could go a bunch of different ways. The biggest question is like, who is down to generate the content consistently? And in what form would it be the easiest so that I can make the platform for it to go on to? So, but yeah, I hear you on the physical digital. Whoa. Does anyone else have a?
Thinking about content, I feel like it would be maybe best, or an idea, to mirror the different main components of our climate action plan and the work we're doing. Like, this is what we're doing in energy, this is what we're doing in transportation, this is what we're doing in food, this is what we're doing in renewables, this is what we're doing in, whatever. And it could be a picture, it could be a slideshow, which
Yeah.
tells a million words, right?
Yep.
So obviously I will default to creating whatever content you all need, but if there's anyone else that wants to do it, that's fine too.
Cool.
And don't are the icons on our logo, like, we could have something corresponding to those potentially also.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Each subcommittee could be responsible for doing a summary of what they're working on for one of the,
That's a good idea.
not to throw everyone under the bus.
Everyone do more.
Cal, what would be super helpful is if you could send a really, short email, just kind of describing a little bit of what you're looking for and what the specs are for the space the footprint.
Yeah.
Because I can, share it with Andrew. I mean, this is literally what he does for big corporate events and media stuff is, construct things like this. So I'm sure he would have some ideas. He may even have some materials that we could use around here.
That's really cool. I will say that the folks doing construction now, their experiences from building exhibits for the American Museum of Natural History down in the city. So there is some
Wow,
expertise,
great.
but I appreciate the extra help because they're volunteers. So.
Okay. Yeah. I just thought we were responsible for our.
Oh, for building it? No, just making the words.
Oh, just me. Okay. So we don't have to
Words
really,
and pictures.
even if, okay.
Yeah, I just want to know what folks, I need to know what kind of thing folks want to update so that if there needs to be a screen, I have a screen installed. If it needs to update by the internet, I have internet installed, that kind of thing. If it's a flash drive, I can just plug in a flash drive. So that's the
It
sort of
could
thing.
be
I'll send out an
something
email.
more creative. It could be something more creative.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, see, I think it would be better if it was a little more, not just a screen or
Like a combination with a screen.
something more experiential, right?
Absolutely.
That
So I'll
people
send
would
an
want
email.
to take their picture and, Instagram with. I think this is going to take some creative brainstorming,
Yeah.
which I'm happy to do with you.
Wonderful. Then I'll send an email. I'll send an email.
This is Roberto. I'm also interested as well.
Wonderful. Did you have any particular ideas or you just want to help with what were you thinking?
Not sure yet. No, nothing's come to mind.
That's okay.
But yes, this is a great idea.
Okay, so Roberto, you're gonna connect with Cal. Maya, did you have something?
Yeah, Cal, sign me up too to help with the brainstorming session if we want to have a subcommittee with
And
Melissa
Melissa.
and Ben and Roberto. And then I did have one more thing, outreach wise.
Yep.
Thank you,
There's-
everybody.
New book, new textbook that has just come out called The Hudson. There's a chapter in here about climate change on the Hudson and a whole page about climate smart communities.
Wow.
Including a map that shows where they all are and a little description
Wow.
of what they are and how communities can get involved if they want to learn more about it.
That whole presentation that you just did was so prepared. I can just,
Very nice.
you were open to the page, you went right to this.
I've been doing a lot of Zoom teaching recently.
It shows.
Awesome. Where does the normal person get one of those jobs?
You can get it from Rutgers University Press or from clearwater.org. The Clearwater sells it in their it's one of their merchandise items.
Nice.
It's a textbook all about the Hudson, and the climate change chapter is new.
Awesome.
Did you help write that? Or are you just excited about it? Did you
Yeah,
help?
no, it's self-promotion. My name's on the title.
Ah, diggity.
on
Congratulations,
the
Mike.
cover. Yeah.
Are you going to be teaching that at Kingston High School, or what's the age level?
It's like I'm teaching right now a course at Marist with it, so it's college level, but it's also good for just introductory educators in the Hudson Valley that need to know more about the general river stuff. So it's maybe late high school, early college, or outdoor educator material.
Is it also online or no?
Not yet. No, there's no digital version yet.
Is that in the works or not necessarily?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah.
Cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And congratulations to you all too. We're all in there.
Yay. That's great. One other thing I wanted to bring up that we don't need to necessarily discuss now, but maybe I'll put it on next month's agenda, is what we plan on doing in lieu of an Earth Fair this year. We're not going to be having an in-person event, but I think that we should be doing something. So I will probably put that on the March agenda for us to discuss. So if you'll think about what you think we can do, or if anyone has any ideas now, I don't necessarily want to get into it totally, but we can think of it for next month. All right. Anything else on outreach and education? Okay. Any updates on the Green Business Challenge? Betta?
No, sadly, I have no updates. I missed the Climate Smart, the Ulster Climate Smart meeting Monday night. I don't know, Cal, if you were there. Oh God, we both missed it. We're so bad.
So did Kim. I don't even know who was there.
Wow, that's weird that we all missed it because we're usually all there.
Yeah, it was a rough month.
Yeah, truly. Okay, well, yeah, sorry. I don't have any updates.
Okay, Kevin, any updates on zoning? Wait, is this the time when we're stretching? Are we all supposed to be standing up? I see Mike Darcy is stretching.
Important to do that.
Remember the meeting we had at City Hall and I had my computer posted up on the screen and it said stand up and we stood up. For those of you who were there, that was very
Also, my painting's not centered.
Yeah, could you center it? Yeah. Maybe you can put up a fake background so we don't have to look at this unevenness every time, okay?
Julie, I have a question.
Yep.
Is there a place, a central location where we can get information about all these other meetings that take place so that we can attend them?
Like what kind of meetings?
Like the meetings that have been talked about here, like besides our meeting, other meetings that I could attend that would bring me more up to date and more get me more involved in what's going on. Because right now I feel, still a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little uneasy, I guess, because I'm not up to date and I don't feel I'm up to par yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's one central location, but I know that, the city's website, you can see all the city's meetings right on the main page. Manajo also has a like a monthly digest that she puts out that has like a lot of stuff on it. I don't know if you get that, but
I do not. But
okay.
If you put your email in the chat, I could send you a link or get you on that list.
Okay, not quite certain how to do that, but I could tell you my email. I'll give you my email right now. Ready? Okay, it's TAYCANR@AOL.com. tayacanr@AOL.com.
Okay. And
Good.
Roberto, was it?
Yes, yes, Roberto.
Okay, I'll email you.
Perfect. Not sure. Were we on Kevin for zoning?
Zoning,
I just
yeah.
talked about the stretching. Is that what happened?
Yeah, we're stretching instead of zoning. So, yeah, where we were left on that was earlier in February, we had a Zoom thing with Strong Towns, which was a guy named Chuck Marone. He was from Minnesota, and he presented on land use and code reform, which would lead us into the direction of restarting our City of Kingston form-based code. We had more than 100 people on this particular event, and it's sort of organized by Tanya Garment. She got the ball rolling with this, and she got Andrea Schau from the Common Council involved, and Jeffrey Ventura Morel. And Anthony Tampone, who is my colleague on the zoning task force back in the day, was the facilitator along with council member Jeffrey Ventura Morel. So yeah, the goal of this is to get the Common Council to get the ball rolling on form-based code. I mean, because what we've been having are just one issue after the next with like sloppy old zoning and, people, wanting to do all these variances and, amendments and blah, blah, blah. And it goes on and on forever like this. And if we could clean up the zoning, people would know what they're doing, and there'd be so much community input could be put into the process, and it would just be a much better situation. So with that, I'll leave you on to the next item, which I think is renewables, unless people have questions.
All right, anyone have any questions for Kevin on zoning? All right, renewables, this isn't necessarily assigned to anyone in particular. Does anyone have any updates on renewable work?
I mean, I could talk for the next like 2 hours about everything that's going on in the state, but I don't want to bore people. So
Can you give us a 2.5-minute update?
Oh God.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
I
How
guess
did she do that?
I guess the biggest thing that's happening right now, is the power generation advisory panel for the Climate Action Council is finalizing, its recommendations to the Climate Action Council. So if people, have any interest in that process, or, submitting comments to be considered, I can certainly share it. We're also going to be I'm on the panel, and we're going to be having another meeting that's open to the public, where the public can submit comments, on March 10th at 1:00. And what else? Yeah. So that's kind of a big thing that's happening.
Oh, where?
Well, of course, just, like anything, everything's online. Nothing in person these days, but I can include that in my email to you, Roberto.
Good.
So I'd be happy to do that. And the campaign I work on, New Yorkers for Clean Power, we circulated some talking points as well. If people, want some suggestions for what to say, but, there's a lot at stake, because not everyone on our panel, I would say, is like, we have fossil fuel interests on our panel. I mean, we have, it's a mix of people. We have NISO represented. It's not like everybody on the panel is like raw renewables. So we do, and we've had a lot of pro-nuclear people calling in. So if nuclear power is a concern of yours, it would be great to express that. Anyway, I know that's a controversial topic among climate advocates, but the panel is grappling with a lot, and then we're going to be finalizing our recommendations in the next few weeks, submitting them to the Climate Action Council. And then the Climate Action Council is going to be, with the help of some consultants, doing this whole scoping plan over the next year. And there'll be more opportunities for public comment. And yeah. So anyway, this isn't the last time that you would be able to participate in this process by a long shot. But it's interesting that we have the city level climate action plan at the exact same time the state is doing the climate action plan. So there's a lot happening.
Is there something that we should be doing to tie into that?
Well, I mean, if people have any ideas, about good recommendations, I mean, one that I've been kind of pushing, that I feel like Maya and others probably would have good input on is, we need to really ramp up climate education, right? Climate and clean energy education, and workforce development and green jobs and all of that stuff. And so if people, have any ideas about that, or, what more kind of support does the city and, Kingston in general need from the state in order to implement our climate goals? It would be great to hear those ideas.
Does Kingston High School have a climate agenda? I mean, a climate curriculum? Or do they teach climate?
In high school, did you
Yeah,
ask?
or any of the high schools?
Not that I know of.
The New York State science standards have a lot of climate in them, so they might not have a specific course, but if they're following the New York State science standards, which I'm sure they are, they'll hit a lot of it.
Okay.
Okay. So anyone that has any input on that state's climate action plans, follow up with Betta. And is there anyone else that has anything else on renewables for this portion of the agenda? Okay, then we'll move on to New York Energy Stretch Code. Jess isn't here. I was really hoping she would be, because I need to get an update on where we are with the stretch code. But I will follow up with her offline, so we will table that. Solid waste management, that is in catch-all on our agenda that we decided to add the last time. I did mention that a couple things with the organics plan and the sticker campaign and the tote information gathering. I don't know that I have anything else specific about solid waste right now. I don't know if anyone else does. I mean, we did hear from Andrew about the repair. I mean, all the repair work certainly is managing solid waste. But is there anything else specific anyone wants to discuss regarding solid waste in the city? Okay, then we will move on to new business. I'm going to hand it over to Ellie to give us an update. We have mentioned in the past a little bit, I think Betta brought it up, the NYSERDA Clean Energy Communities Leadership Round. In the last couple of weeks, Ellie has been 100% on this process. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Ellie, to give us an update on what the process is and where we are with it.
All right. So we've gotten involved in the leadership round. The leadership round is very similar to the other rounds that we were in that we submit a series of actions and get a bunch of points. Right now, the point threshold that we are working towards is 5,000 points, which would make us eligible for a $125,000 grant, correct? Yeah, make us eligible for a $125,000 grant, which is an amount that is based on our population size and the disadvantaged areas in our community. So for the past week or so, I have been working on submitting these high impact actions. So far, I've gotten about 4 or 5 in. I'm looking at the scorecard right now, and we're up to 2,800 points. I believe that NYSERDA has approved us for all of the actions that we've submitted so far, which is good. And currently I'm doing a little bit of legwork to move us forward with 2 more high impact actions that'll bring us up to 3,600 points. Those are related to the benchmarking ordinance. So I'm just working on benchmarking our data so we can submit a report and so we can get those points as well. Once I am done with the benchmarking data, we are really just waiting on stretch code, which would give us, I think, 1,200 points, which is really important to get us to that 5,000 point threshold. And then we're also just waiting for the police department to put one of their new hybrid electric vehicles on the road, because that's another high impact action related to clean fleets that would give us another couple hundred points. So that is what I've been doing.
Which actions have we gotten approved so far?
So far, we are approved for, well, benchmarking and clean fleets from the first round. Those are not the, because I'm waiting for the police department and I'm working on the benchmarking right now. We were just approved today for clean heating and cooling demo because of the HVAC upgrades at the Rondout Center. That was 500 points. We were approved for our Climate Smart Community Silver certification, as well as the Bronze certification, which came from the first round. We were approved for 2 separate LED streetlight actions. One was 700 points and one was 900 points. The actions were that we, I think it was 50%, yeah, it was 50%. We convert 50% of our decoratives and 50% of our streetlights to LEDs. Obviously, we've converted far more than that, so they awarded us the points for that. Those 2 actions combined were 900 points. PACE financing, just submitting proof that we have a PACE financing program with the city, gave us 200, actually gave us 100 points. And then there's a second PACE financing thing that we did in the first round. and then a unified solar permit high impact action, which just got approved, which was 200 points. So in total, that brings us to 2,800. Once we reach 3,000 points, we will be eligible for grant money. Not the full 125,000. For once we hit 3,000. Once we hit 3,000, we are eligible for $10,000 in grant money. But of course, we have our sights set higher than that. So we're getting there.
Yes, we are. Ellie has done an incredible amount of work in a really short amount of time to pull this all together, because Carla is really telling us that we need to do this quickly. I guess there's a lot of money on a state level, but not necessarily. As Carla said, it's not all available just for Kingston, Julie. So you need to get in as soon as possible.
It should be.
It should be. That's what we said. It should be. So first of all, I want to just formally and officially on the record thank Ellie for the work that she has done so far in doing this. It is great. And I'm looking forward to us getting the highest amount of grant funding that we can. There is a website that you can go and check out the portal. I will say, it has right in there in big letters, these are the regional leaders, and I don't think we're in the top 3. So Ellie got to work a little harder.
Depending on the police department, it's their fault.
So
well, I've been keeping track of the scorecard, and the regional leader is Beacon, who has 4,400 points, but their point level has not gone up in the past week. So I don't know if they're doing anything.
And ours has. So
And ours has by, I don't know, it went up by 500 a day. So we're getting there.
Yeah, I was looking at that leaderboard earlier today. I think they sent around the link in the notes from the Monday Ulster County climate meeting, and I was noticing that we're not up in the leaderboard yet. So that sounds like a gauntlet thrown to me.
So what it is really is these regional leaders, Beacon, Croton-on-Hudson, Marbletown, they've all done community choice aggregation, which gives them like over 1,000 extra points. Unfortunately, we haven't done community choice aggregation, so we're not eligible for those points. But if you look at their scorecards, they don't seem to be doing all the other things that we're doing. So they have relied heavily on high point actions, but slow and steady wins the race.
See, can't put all your eggs in one basket, CCA. We diversify.
Yeah. But it comes down, unfortunately, it comes down to stretch code and community choice aggregation. Those are the highest point value actions. Choice aggregation is obviously a big undertaking, but stretch code we can probably get done.
Yeah, I was just about to say, did I hear you say before, Ellie, that that we are going to do the stretch code? Because it seems like before we were a little bit, I don't want to say dragging our feet, but it wasn't being pursued in an expeditious way. Now we have some real incentive, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know if we're doing the stretch code or not. This is my first meeting, but Julie.
Well, what can we as the Climate Smart Commission do to, make that happen?
Well, this is the role of Jessica. This is why I was hoping she'd be on the call. I mean, she's been spearheading it the whole way. And so the crux of this was like her connecting with Steve Knox and making this happen. And I was hoping this was going to be the meeting where Ellie was going to be like, we need energy stretch code to be the winner. And Jess would be like, okay, I have my marching orders. This is how I played it out in my head, by the way, because I pre-play everything out in my head. And so then it would have there would have been an urgency and we would have it. So this still, my replay 2.0 is going to have to be the conversation that happens with Jess outside of this meeting, because there is the urgency now.
Right. Or she can watch the recording of this later.
That's right.
If you visit the link I put in the chat, the nyforcleanpower.org, take action for energy efficiency, clean heating, cooling. It's about decarbonizing buildings, and you will see there are 2 actions you can take. Well, on the left, you can sign something. I'm not going to get into explaining about that unless you want me to, improving the BCA to the Public Service Commission. To the right, it's send a letter to your town board or city council to adopt the New York State stretch code. And so, we have a handy draft letter right there. Would it be helpful if, we sent a letter like that to the city council, Julie, or whatever? Sorry.
Can we do
Having some domestic.
I know, what can we do to help you right now?
Just to accept the stretch
Sneeze
code.
was so frightful. Are we crying because of the sneeze? Because I'm practically crying because of that sneeze.
That sneeze was scary.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Dad.
Good job, Dad.
I don't think that individually we should be taking action. The collective action is climate smart. The work that Jess is doing is the push from climate
Right,
smart.
but I mean, would a letter that there's a draft letter, would a letter coming from like the Climate Smart Commission to the city council, we have a letter right there we could just take and send from the commission. Would that be helpful? That's what I'm trying to understand. What
I don't
is
think
the-
so, because I think the entire push is from us. So to like have this entire push and then have a separate, like, oh, we're sending a separate letter, that feels disjointed.
What else do we have to do to, who is like, is it the problem with the building code enforcer? Is that the problem? What is the problem?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer. That's why I needed the answer.
Yeah, we
from
need to
Jess.
talk to Jess is what it sounds like.
Like she could have made progress and we could be golden or there could be nothing. So I don't know without talking to her what we need to do.
Okay.
I know one problem and that with other communities, and that was retrofitting older buildings and the threshold where you trigger the entire stretch code on an old structure, which could be, kind of, I think, I don't know, I'd have to go back and read the stretch code itself, but if we could do it for new construction, that seems like a no-brainer, like get it done yesterday and don't go into the problem area immediately. But I'm just wondering if that would, how many points that would get, or if there'd be pushback on that.
Let me look. I have the whole thing in here.
Yeah, I should have looked this up. I'm sorry. I have
So
it.
the New York State stretch code. Let me see. Okay, it says that we can adopt the New York State stretch code on a jurisdiction-wide basis. The code may be customized to fit local needs and priorities.
That's the language I was looking for. Sounds good.
So we can customize it so that there's nothing in there about retrofitting old buildings. Is there something in there right now about retrofitting old buildings?
No, because we haven't adopted the stretch code.
Oh.
Right.
There's
This came up on a webinar I was on with one of the presenters that was here a few months ago, a guy named Michael DeWine. And we had people from Westchester, I think particularly Hastings and Dobbs Ferry, and they were having this problem because they have a big stock like we do of older buildings. And they were like, what do you do? Well, here's how you do it. And it's a little complicated and we'll have to go offline for the rest of this discussion. Yeah, it was one of those. So yeah, what said to me, if you could adopt it for new construction, sounds really easy. And
that
do
was
a phase 2 to do the rest, not to abandon the older buildings. No, not by any means, but to go back later and then fine tune that and get something that's presentable to the Common Council that wouldn't draw pushback from somebody. That makes
Right.
sense.
So I think what needs to happen is after this meeting, I'll reach out to Jess, set a call with Allie, myself, and her, see where we are, understand and articulate the urgency and understand what the plan of action needs to be in order to make it happen. And if it isn't, so that's a no-go for whatever reason. Ellie, are we out or it's our backup? Because CCA cannot be the backup. Is that the backup?
let me look at the thing that Carla sent me. So the thing with the New York State stretch code, if we adopt it, it counts towards our point value. It's 1,200 points. It's the most points available, but it also gives us an additional $5,000. So the $125,000 that we would become eligible for if we get to this 5,000 point level would be knocked down to 120 as opposed to 125 if we went with other actions and not with stretch. But let me pull up the spreadsheet that I have.
And while Ellie's doing that, just to give you an idea, so in the first round of the clean energy communities, we qualified based on the things that you listed, and we got a $100,000 grant, which is how we paid for the windows and the lighting at City Hall. This one would be 125,000 ideally, and we would have to do another project. We haven't determined what that project would be yet. We're looking at solar, but it could be something else. And then we have, once we get awarded, or once we qualify, then we have 3 months to figure out what our project would be.
Can I possibly open up a can of worms by asking why you say that CCA can't be the fallback option? I feel like I'm missing something.
Because of the timing.
Oh, okay, great.
We are
It's like, did Kingston rule out CCA forever?
No,
I didn't
we're
hear it?
going
Okay,
to
it's just the
CCA.
timing. Great, thank you.
We're gonna do CCA, but like
There's roughly
It's on the timing.
$800,000
thank you.
available for our region. And in order to get the money the 125,000, we're gonna have to act quickly. CCA, I don't know exactly how long that would take to adopt, but I do think it would be so long that other communities would surpass us and they would get the funds that we want.
Yeah, it's just to be clear, it is not the CCA is off the table for Kingston. It's literally the timeline.
Got it, thank you. Also, just to check in, I think it's just Roberto who's newer here, but are there any terms that you're hearing that you're not familiar with that you'd like someone to explain before we move on, just so that make sure you're following everything?
Everybody okay?
Oh, he might have froze. Oh no, hi, Roberto, were there any of the stuff that we're talking about here? It's kind of jargony, this section. Is there anything you want explained, or are you following fine?
Yeah, that's great. That's thanks for asking that.
Yeah.
What you just talked about, ETA?
Oh, so it's CCA, and it stands for Community Choice Aggregation. And it basically means that the city decides together that instead of getting the default electricity from Central Hudson, we're going to choose where we want to get our energy. And that lets you decide we want to get it from a wind farm or a solar farm or something like that, so that you can get renewable energy for your town or city instead of whatever the mix is from Central Hudson. And it's everyone in the city gets defaulted onto it, generally speaking. It usually costs a little bit less, but you can opt out if you want to choose to get the default mix or something else. Does that help?
Yes, it certainly does.
And it's something that we've been discussing for a while and have been in communications with lots of folks to move this forward, but it takes multiple layers of approvals, both on the city level, the council level, the voter level, like all these different things to get things adopted. And so in the realm of this specific project, it just is not in the cards for the timeline for us to get this money.
Right. Whereas the stretch code, I don't know if that was already explained in detail, but it's just a buildings code that is a little bit stricter than the default on things like energy efficiency. You got that one?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
That's good.
Great. Just making sure. I didn't want you to be lost.
Thank you so
Okay.
So I'm looking at the spreadsheet, and if we can't do stretch code, it kind of puts us in a tricky position where the rest of the actions that we could potentially do in a short time frame are not worth a lot of points. Rex, I know you don't really like Rex, Julie, but Rex is worth 500 points. I don't know the timeline for adopting Rex or for doing Rex. Do you
Rex
know?
are renewable energy credits for anyone who isn't familiar. I've made it explicitly clear I'm not a Rex fan.
Yeah.
Although I work for the rec department, best department ever.
It is, you know, like kind of not exactly, I don't know. I'm on the side, but if we need it, how long would it take?
How many Rex do you need to get for a point? One?
Well, we have to cover 100%. We have to cover 100% of our energy from.
So a lot.
100%.
And we use a lot of energy. So.
Yeah, that's a reasonable amount. Rex, national wind, like everything bundled from the Midwest, that's about 240 a megawatt hour.
Yep.
So
it produces a lot of energy.
So Rex is the highest point, 100% renewable energy is the highest point value, high action high impact action thing that we could potentially do. But I'm assuming that would be kind of a long period of time before we could complete that. Besides that, all the other ones that we could potentially do are 200, 300 point values. If we had for like a city project that was PACE financed, that would be 300 points. I know that's another one of those things that's like probably not going to happen, at least not right now. If we put in another EV charging station, that's 200 points. So that's tricky. If we did energy code enforcement training, which won't be available until the fourth quarter of the year, we would get another 200 points. But then again, there's only $800,000 available, and it would probably be gone by the fourth quarter. So we're relying pretty heavily on stretch code right now. Although we could potentially get to 4,000 points without stretch code if we do 100% renewable energy, a new charging station, and what was it? And the energy code enforcement training in the fourth quarter. But we really need stretch code.
Well, if anybody is interested, or Julie, if you're interested, Wednesday at 3:00, there's going to be an event. It's really just for municipal officials, which you would count as a municipal official. And the focus is going to be on both building codes and also kind of next level passing gas bans, which, you know, as far as I know at this point, would require like somehow circumventing state law. So I'm not proposing that Kingston do that at this moment, but certainly, you know, the stretch code is, you know, I mean, I shouldn't say a no-brainer because it does require a little bit more, you know, work, I think, on the part of the building code inspector. But, you know, it's something that a lot of municipalities are adopting. Anyway, I can send you an invitation if you want to, if you're available. And maybe if you're not, Ellie could go in your place. I don't know how strict they're going to be with RSVPs, but it would, you know, I know Sustainable Westchester is going to have a lot of their network participating, and a lot of the Westchester towns have passed the stretch code.
Okay, great. Yeah, send that over.
Okay.
All right. So good discussion. We're going to follow up with Jess. Hopefully things are in motion. If not, we're going to hope to push things in motion. Betta, thank you for offering to help. We'll reach out to you if we need. Serena, I see the note about money that was available. The money that we're talking about is the money, is my understanding, is the money that is available. And except, or are you talking about some other funding that is available, that you thought was available for doing the stretch code?
Yeah, I thought I remembered there being specific money for meeting some deadline. They wanted to like get people to meet it by a certain date, but maybe that is this. I thought that was something different though.
Better would have talked about that.
I thought that was DEC pushing that.
Sorry, I was trying to find the email about this March 3rd thing. I missed what you just said. Were you talking about the comment to the new stretch code, Serena?
You're talking about funding that was mentioned in the past to help people advance the stretch code.
And now they're offering however much like bonus money they're offering to the first municipalities that do adopt the stretch code in this now new round of clean energy communities money. Is that what you're talking about, Serena?
I do think that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so that's what gives us the bonus money that Ellie was talking about, that we need to do.
$5,000.
5,000. But that's not to help pass it. It's a bonus for doing it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anything else on that? Ellie, did you have anything else?
Not really.
Okay, anyone else have a question or discussion on that?
I'm going to have to run to the Heritage Commission because it's
Okay.
6:30.
Can someone take notes?
Yeah, I think all you have left is, well, I don't think there was anything for the Ulster County Climate Smart Committee, right? So it's just, and Serena's going over to public safety, right? Maybe she
Right.
left.
And I think we are going to get an update from Assemblyman Cahill's office on their environmental work. So if
Somebody could
just take notes.
or Mike, if you could send that to me, email it to me or something, that would work.
I'll watch the recording. It was nice to see you, Mike.
Okay, thank you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Okay.
All right, so Mike, did you want to give some announcements from your office?
Hi, this mic?
No, not the other Mike from the other Cahill's office. What how do you want to be referred to? Not Mike?
No, I'm good.
Because every single time I call you Mr. Dorsey, you give me a hard time. So just trying to be clear here.
Because I'm not old. I don't want the Mr.
Mr.
Darcy.
Darcy. Mr. Darcy, you need to change that picture so we see your face,
I know.
not Cahill's when you like have to go away.
I
scared
know.
me a minute ago.
So one of the perks about working for the assembly is that I can go in and I can look at which assembly member is doing specific things that are related to climate and energy, and then look at what our own assembly member is doing, which is great. So Assembly Member Cahill currently has a bill that's been introduced. What happens when I do this is I'll give you a bill number, and this way you can research it on your own to find out some things. It's A77, and it is an act to amend tax law in relation to establishing a tax on carbon-based fuels in the state.
You put a link in the chat, Mike?
I think I can do that. A77, just to remind me, and I'll go to it. I look at an internal thing, so I'll have to go to an external one to get the link. But what a cool idea that is, and that's something that Kevin's been doing for a long time. This year, hopefully it'll gain a lot of traction. The next one is that Kevin is sponsoring is establishing a green development neighborhood tax exemption, which is really, really important. The legislation would allow tax exemption for real property tax exemption for 35% for a period of no longer than 20 years if authorized by a local municipality for green neighborhood development.
What number is that?
Really cool. That is A290.
Can you say a little bit more about that? What does that mean?
Sure, we can read the whole thing. In order to facilitate growth in the green home market, an initiative is needed, and these homes typically cost more than your average home. We all know the cost of retrofitting homes or developing passive houses. We know the cost of that; they're excessive. So this sort of, in order to qualify for this incentive, a new home will have to meet specific National Association of Home Builders and Leadership of Energy Environmental Design specifications. Specific to these standards that the homes will have to meet, but not included, a protection of high value vegetation, improved soil, low or no VC finishes, rain barrels and downspouts, recycled content, building materials must be used as two major components, and built-in recycling collection space. So really, that's an amazing bill. The next one would be a bill that the Assembly member is co-sponsoring, which is A235. And that establishes the value of state forest preserve lands in the Adirondacks and Catskill parks to use in determination of state aid for local school districts. So it removes that, which is a big regional act. Again, that's A235. And the last one I had, which isn't really climate related, but I thought everybody in this group would be really interested in this, that Kevin is a co-sponsor of, is A547. And that relates to the operator of a vehicle overtaking a bicycle from behind. And it cannot be any less than 3 feet in distance. So I think that that's really a good piece of legislation to follow up on.
That means that a car cannot follow a bike closer than 3 feet.
When it's passing, it cannot initiate its overtaking of a bike before or within 3 feet.
Wow.
Which is pretty awesome. So what I'm going to try to do is occasionally when I'm here, I'll research a little bit of junk and see if I can give you some information on that. And then these bills specifically, especially the carbon tax one, I'll try to give you updates on how it's progressing through the legislature.
Great, thank you. I don't think the bike one is 100% related. It would be really great though if you could throw in one that's totally random that has nothing to do with anything whatsoever, like about cotton candy or, you know, roller coasters.
Do you want me to, do you want some bills on cotton candy and roller coasters?
Do you have amusement parks on the brain, Julie?
Yeah, what's your deal?
Do you know the last time I've been to an amusement park, people? It's a little bit of withdrawal. Although I did have maple cotton candy the other day because we went up to Lake Placid and it was.
Look at you. You went to Lake Placid.
I-
God. Keep your germs local, lady.
I stayed in my car.
With the maple cotton candy, really?
It was one of those side of the road things. So it was just like, put your money in here and take your thing out here. The trust in the Adirondacks is amazing. Okay, thank you, Cahill's office. That was fantastic. Are there any other announcements, communications, events, or updates?
I am not Cahill's office.
What are you? Because when you go off screen, you know your picture represents that. Just saying. Okay. Any other announcements, communications, updates, or events? No? Which social media postings are we putting up? Does anyone have social media postings that we would like to put up?
I have a question. Do I have to approve all of the postings I make? Because I've just been making postings. Okay.
No, assuming they're not like
They're climate smart related.
material, as long as they're climate smart related, as
Okay.
long as they're not like promoting or dismoting, unmoting.
Okay. I get where you're going with this.
What's the word?
I don't.
Unmoting?
I have to, Cal and I were making the same face like, huh, what?
And you both turned your head to the same side. So what's the answer then?
Demoting?
Unmoting, exactly.
Demoting, I think.
Demoting?
I think that's the word you were looking for.
Demoting. Yeah. I won't do that.
Disparaging.
Disparaging. See?
My work here is done. It's such a pleasure to see all of you. I
Yeah,
gotta
well,
go.
we need a motion to adjourn before you all leave. Somebody give me a motion to adjourn.
I'm a non-voting member. I can't do that.
Motion to adjourn.
Cal, can I get a second?
Second.
Karen, all in favor? 6:41. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Thanks. Take care.